G'day, Teeth here from pickinglessons.com. Lazy John, such a great melody. In this lesson on the banjo, we're going to take a look at two variations. We're using the melodic techniques. We're down the neck a little bit as well, but we're mainly up the neck using the melodic style techniques. This is a great lesson for the beginner banjo player looking to get into some melodic playing. We'll introduce some of these positions of the scales we find up the neck in a couple of positions. We certainly wander up the neck too, so we're playing way up the neck. We're in the key of G, so we're using just standard open tuning as well, so that's making it really accessible. In a moment, we're going to take a look at the first variation of part A here in this lesson, but if you head to pickinglessons.com, you better get yourself a copy of the chart that we're working from, the tablature with all the fingering for your left and right hand in there. You also have a backing track and a play along track, and you'll find the next part of these lessons where we'll break down the variations for both part B and then part A again as well. pickinglessons.com. Alright, let's start out with a slow play through the first variation, then we'll break down and have a look at some of these exercises, particularly focusing on the melodic portion of the melody. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there was part A of the first variation. We are in standard open G tuning. We're in the key of G for this arrangement. Looking at the first measure, and then we'll move our way through and get onto some exercises for the melodic. But looking at the first couple of measures, that opening section is very typical bluegrassy style of playing. So we'll just spend a little bit of time on that, but this should be pretty straightforward if you've been playing for a little while. So these pickup notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, into a pinch. Now the tricky part here is the timing. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So holding off there, we want some space for this melody. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, so a dotted quarter note to kick us off. 1, 2, and. That offbeat there. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. With a nice forward roll, finishing it off with the hammer on. Into measure 2. Very standard slide and inside-outside picking pattern. So have a close look there in the music, the marking for the fingering for your right and your left hands are there. We won't spend much time on that. Then you get this hammer on like the pickup there earlier. Okay, first two measures, pretty straightforward. Just capturing the melody. That's all we're doing there, leaving some space at the beginning. We want space in the melody there. Okay, now moving into measure 3. In measure 3, we're looking at our first melodic passage. So it's going to sound like this. Finishing off there at the beginning of measure 4. So the first thing is, when we're playing a melodic scale up the neck here, you'll find that this position, this 7th fret, with your 3rd finger on string 4, that's an A note. And so it's a really common starting position because we have the A and the G really accessible then. So A is up the neck on string 4 and open G. Rather than going A and G in the same position, we're going to use different strings. And we start to get this overlapping of notes. Then we're going to step onto the B. Noticing that I can just leave my 3rd finger there. So that's the real beauty of this melodic passage. So, looking at the notes we're playing, A, G, A, B, A, G, we could do it down here. You may prefer to do it that way. You may prefer to do it this way. Get the same result. I guess at the same time, it doesn't matter which one you do because you have the same notes. But what I like about the melodic is that the flowing nature of the technique. And the single string's great. Just a slightly different tone. So in this case, we're doing melodic, and the melodic technique here, it is a nice accessible one for this measure, and we certainly use this a little bit more as we progress through this tune as well. So that's a nice entry. Practice that one up, measure 3. and the fingers just before we head off here. Thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index. So it's a nice thumb, index, crisscross pattern. Use the open string as a way for our left hand to move down to position there from 2nd fret and a slide into 4th. And that 4th measure is pretty standard as well. So we repeat that twice. We have 8 measures, but it's the same thing twice. So let's just run very quickly these first 4 measures. 1, 2. So you can hear how nice that melodic passage sounds, getting used to going from open position 7th fret with your 3rd finger. A great exercise would be just to have this hammer on perhaps in measure 2, 3rd finger over to fret 7. Aiming to get that 3rd finger landing in position nice and accurately every single time. Once you can do that, launch into measure 3 is a great exercise as well. And then just resolve to the G. So that's a really nice portion to practice. And as always, take your time. Don't rush too fast. Be comfortable with the speed that you're practicing so you're nice and accurate. Okay, so that was part A of the tune. We're capturing the melody there with a couple of different techniques. As we move through the tune, we certainly play more melodic actually up the neck for the rest of the melody. So if you head to pickinglessons.com, you'll be able to get yourself a copy of the chart we're working from there. But in the members section, we do have the next lesson for part B, 1st variation, then 2 more lessons for part A, 2nd variation, and part B, 2nd variation also. So pickinglessons.com, I'll see you there.